Okay, this is Algebra 1, spring test number 15, part 2, picking up with number 13. Question says the sum of two numbers is 70 and their difference is 22. Write a system of equations that describes this situation. Solve by elimination to find the two numbers. So the first situation says the sum of two numbers. You need to know that word sum means to add the two numbers. You don't know what either one of these numbers is. So what you need to do is you need to represent one of them with x and one of them with y, and again, sum means to add them up. It says their sum is 70. The second description says their difference is 22. So you need to know that difference is minus the same number that you don't know x minus the same number that you don't know y. That's what difference means, is 22. So there's your system. The way you solve this, after it says to write the system, it says solve it using elimination. It tells you what to use, but if it didn't tell you what to use, it's set up best for elimination because all of these coefficients are 1x and 1x, 1y, but negative 1y is that one. So they're stacked and they have opposite terms, 1 and negative 1y. So when we combine these two equations, we know 1x and 1x together gives us 2x. We know 1y and negative 1y eliminates those y's. That's what we were trying to do. And we know 70 and 22 is 92. So now we have a simple equation that says 2x is equal to 92. Undo that by dividing by 2 on both sides to get x by itself. X goes into the number 9 4 times, and you have 1 left over. I'm sorry, not x, 2. 2 goes into the number 12 6 times. So the x value, according to this description, is 46. In order to find what your y value is, take 46 or take your new value of x and plug it back into one of the equations. If they look the same, use the top one. So instead of x, now it says 46 plus y is equal to 70. So to get y by itself, subtract this positive 46 to undo it by subtracting it. If you subtract it on one side, do it to the other side. If you borrow 1, 10 minus 6 is 4. And since you borrowed 1, 6 minus 4 is 2. So your y value is 24. So again, according to this situation, your x value is 46 and your y value is 24. Remember, when you're solving systems, though, it's like as if you were graphing two equations. It's the point where the two equations will cross each other. So that point, if it were x comma y, would be 46, 24. That would be your solution to the system of equations. Number 14 says to solve this system using elimination. So same method as the last problem, except the system's already written for you. The reason it's best to use elimination with this one, again, is because everything's stacked on top of each other. X is on top of x, y is on top of y's, constants on top of constants. But not only that, you have opposite terms, 3y and negative 3y. So when we combine 1x and 1x, we have 2x's. When we combined 3y and negative 3y, we eliminated the y's. That was the goal. And when we combine 5 and negative 1, we get 4. So just like on the last problem, you have a simple equation that says 2x is equal to 4. Undo 2 times something by dividing both sides by 2. X's value is 2. Once you have x's value, plug it back into one of the other equations. It doesn't even matter which one. They both look the same. Again, use the top one. X's value is 2 plus 3y equals 5. Now you have a two-step equation to undo. Undo positive or plus 2 first by subtracting it on both sides. 5 minus 2 is 3. So you have 3y equals 3. Undo 3 times y by dividing both sides by 3. And you have y's value is 1. Remember, again, a solution to a system is written as x comma y. Your x value is 2, and your y value is 1. Therefore, your solution is 2, 1. Number 16 says to solve this one using substitution. We got away from this for a while, but remember, anytime you're using substitution, often it's helpful if you write the problem side by side instead of stacked on top of each other. Y equals x plus 3 and y equals 2x. It's not necessary, it's just helpful sometimes. Since your y values are isolated or they're all by themselves, take one of the y values and plug it in place of the other y value. This one says y equals x plus 3. You can plug that one in place of y. So x plus 3 is equal to 2x. Now you just have an equation that has variables on both sides. Take the 1x, the smaller one, and bring it over to the larger 2x side. We know how to bring a positive 1x over, or plus 1x. You subtract 1x. You subtract it on the left, subtract it on the right. 2x minus 1x is equal to x. Equals, that's canceled out, so x's value is 3. Once you have x's value, plug that back in to the other equation. Y is equal to x is now 3 plus 3, and y's value is 6. So you have x comma y again as an ordered pair. That's how you write your solution, 3, 6. Number 16, find the slope. Your slope formula, remember, m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I don't expect most people to remember that formula, but I need you to know how to do it even without the formula. You need to know that your y values are on top. Remember, that's how many times it goes up or down. So you need to know what's the difference in those two numbers, 8 and 0. If you go 0 minus 8, you're going to get negative 8 on the top. Over your x values. Remember, this one's x and this one's x. If you go from right to left, you got to go from right to left again, meaning you got to go from 9 and subtract 2 from it. If you go the other way, you got to go the other way both times. 9 minus 2 gives you 7. There's no number that goes into 8 and or 7. Therefore, your slope value for this one is negative 8 over 7. Again, if you label them and plug them into the formula, you'll get the exact same value. Number 17 says simplify the difference, the expression, excuse me. Anytime you have something raised to the 0 power, it's 1. 7c to the 4th, h to the negative 3rd. You don't know what c is, you don't know what h is. That's why they're variables. What you do know is that something cannot be left raised to a negative exponent like h is. So 7c to the 4th can stay exactly where it is, right where it is. But h to the negative 3rd has to ride the elevator. Everything's a fraction, even if it's not written as a fraction, you can put it over 1. Therefore, when we create a fraction out of this one, this will go down and become h to the positive 3rd. So 7c to the 4th, h now to the positive 3rd. Same thing with number 19. You have 12 on top, and you got x to the negative 5th, y to the 7th on the bottom. X to the negative 5th is being raised to a negative exponent. So it has to ride the elevator and go to the top. 12 stayed on top. X comes up and becomes to the positive 5th. Remember, it rode the elevator to get rid of the negative. Y to the 7th stays on bottom right where it is. So your expression looks just like this. 12x to the 5th, y to the 7th. Same thing with number 20. 10 times 5 to the negative 3rd. You have to do exponents before you do multiplication. Remember, the excuse part comes before my dear. So this has to ride the elevator, and it becomes 10 times 1 over 5 to the positive 3rd. Remember, 5 to the positive 3rd means 5 times itself 3 times. 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. So you have 10 times 1 over 125. If you go straight across, that's exactly what you get, 10 over 125. And the number 5 is going to go into both of these to reduce it. 5 times 2 is 10. And 5 goes into 125. Well, it goes into 120 times, and it goes into 25 5 times. So it goes into 125 25 times. 2 over 25. For number 21, you have 9, 9, and 9. All of your bases are the same. Anytime you have the same bases, you add exponents. So you have something that looks like this. 9 to the 7 plus 5 plus a negative 1, which means minus 1. That's the reason you subtract it. 7 plus 5 is 12, and 12 minus 1 is 9 to the 11th. And we'll leave it like that. There's no reason to come up with that great big number there. The same problem for number 22. You have the same base, 3.77. So take the exponents and add them. 3.77 to the negative third plus 4. Negative 3 plus 4 is 3.77 to the first power, which is simply 3.77. Number 23 says 3D times 4D. First thing, multiply 3 times 4. Your coefficients, you get 12. Then multiply D times D, same base. When you multiply the same bases, you add the exponents 1 and 1. So it becomes 3D to the 1 plus 1. I'm sorry, not 3D, 12D to the 1 plus 1, which is 12D squared. For 24 and 25 and 26, you're raising powers to powers. M squared is being raised to the 6th power. Now you don't add the exponents 2 and 6. Now you multiply the exponents. M to the 2 times 6 is M to the 12th power. N to the 6 times negative 3, same thing, is N to the 6 times negative 3 is N to the negative 18. The difference between this one and the last one is that now it's negative. It can't stay that way. Remember, everything's a fraction, so everything's over 1. So ride the elevator. 1 stays on top, N goes to the bottom, and 18 becomes positive, or negative 18 becomes positive. 1 over N to the positive 18. 9 N to the 8th to the 3rd. Again, powers to powers. Everything's going to get the 3rd power. 9 is going to get the 3rd power, and N to the 8th is going to get the 3rd power. So 8 times 3. Remember, anytime you raise a power to a power, you multiply. So N to the 8 times 3 is N to the 24th power. 9 to the 3rd power is 9 times 9 is 81. Times 9 is 243, I think. No. 9. That's right, huh? 729. Thinking of something else. Number 27 says negative 6 a to the 2nd, b to the 5th to the 3rd times a to the 2nd, b to the 3rd to the 8th. Do them separately. Do this first one. Everything here is being raised to the 3rd power. Negative 6, which acts like this, is being raised to the 3rd power. A squared is being raised to the 3rd power, which means it's multiplying. And b to the 5th is being raised to the 3rd power again, which means it's multiplying. So negative 6 to the 3rd power is negative 6 times negative 6, which is positive 36. And negative 36 times 6 is negative 216. A to the 2 times 3 is A to the 6th. And b to the 5 times 3 is b to the 15th. That's the first side. The second side is the other parentheses, this one. Everything's being raised to the 8th power for this one. So a squared is being raised to the a power, so that means 2 times 8. And b to the 3rd is being raised to the 8th power, 3 times 8. So a to the 2 times 8 is to the 16th. B to the 3 times 8 is to the 24th. Almost finished. Our constant is already finished, negative 216. So all we need to do is bring that one down. You're multiplying all of these numbers, A, and B, but they have different exponents, but you can still multiply them. A times A means you add the exponents 6 and 16. And B times B means you add those exponents 15 and 24. Again, almost finished. Negative 216. A to the 6 plus 16 is 24th. B to the 15 plus 24 is 39th. That's finished. Number 28 tells you to simplify using FOIL. Remember what FOIL is. First, outer, inner, last. So your first two terms are 2x and 5x. When you multiply those, 2 times 5 is 10. X times x, same base, add the exponents, x squared. The O part are your outer terms. Remember, when you're talking about outer, think of everything as a dartboard. This is the inner, this is the outer. So when you're looking for which one are considered the outer ones, it's this one times this one. 2x times 4 is a positive 8x. Your inner terms, again, think of the same dartboard. I in FOIL stands for inner. Your inner terms are negative 7 times 5x. Negative 7 times 5x is negative 35x. And then the L in FOIL stands for your last two terms. So just like 2x and 5x were your first terms, negative 7 and 4 are your last two terms. Negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. So we're almost finished with FOIL. The only thing we can do at this point is combine our like terms, 8x and negative 35x. Remember, in order to add or subtract terms, in order to combine them, they have to have the same variable to the same exponent. 8x minus 35x, when you take 35 and subtract 8 from it, you're going to get negative 27x. Bring everything else down. 10x squared goes in the front. It can't combine with anything. And negative 28 goes in the back. It can't combine with anything. There it is, FOIL. 10x squared minus 27x minus 28. And number 29 tells you to simplify using the horizontal method. Horizontal means across, not up and down, not vertically stacked on top of each other. Multiply this term by the binomial after it, 2n squared times 2n minus 3. Multiply this term plus 4n times the binomial after it, 2n minus 3, the same one. And multiply this term plus 2 times the binomial after it, 2n minus 3. If you went the other way, it would work the same way. Remember, if you separated 2n minus 3 and multiplied both of those by it, it's going to do the same thing though. 2n squared times 2n. 2 times 2 is 4. N squared times n to the first. You add them up. N to the third. 2n squared minus 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6n squared. Do the same thing with 4n times 2n is positive 8n squared because you add n to the 1 plus 1. And 4n times negative 3 is negative 12n. Do the same thing with 2 times 2n is positive 4n. And times negative 3 is negative 6. Last thing we have to do is combine our like terms. Negative 6n squared can go together with 8n squared. Same variable, same exponent. Negative 6 plus 8 is positive 2n squared. N to the first power, negative 12n and 4n. Negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8n. 4n to the third power can't go together with anything because there's no other n to the thirds, and negative 6 can't go together with anything because there's no other constant terms without a variable. There is your polynomial, multiplying that trinomial and binomial using the horizontal method.